Business, the Honorable Kerrie Symmonds, Mr. Dave McGregor, Chief Operating Officer of Emera Caribbean, General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, the Honorable Toni, and Chairman of the Barbados National Company, Mr. Fernandes. I also want to welcome Mr. James Browne, the CEO of Barbados National Company, Mr. Nielsen Benedy, Renewable Energy Manager, Emera Caribbean, Senior Management of the Barbados National Company, members and officials of the Barbados Workers Union, the press and others who are carrying this particular event. This is indeed a very special event, moment of significance. I don't recall ever a situation in Barbados where labor on the one hand, private capital, and I use private in the sense of non-public, and a state enterprise have all come together as a force to undertake such a commercial venture that will eventually benefit not just the stakeholders, but Barbados as a whole, and really blaze the trail for others to follow. Now, I've been called to account, and I will try to come to the call of doing the welcoming here. Sometimes I prefer to do the welcoming as opposed to the four thanks. Instead of in the latter situation, you have to summarize all the speeches and, make sure you don't miss anything. But yet, welcoming can be a bittersweet for me because I had a previous occasion where I gave the welcoming address or remarks, and the sweet part was that every subsequent speaker would have the constant refrain, as Wesley said, as Wesley said. Now, I felt good being quoted, but by saying the word, there was this feeling, did I go and go too much into the other speaker's space? I would not venture to do that on this occasion. I'm Leslie Carter, the commercial manager of the Barbados National Company, and we know what this event is about. We're coming here to sign the MOU for this very important development, investment into a renewable energy space located at the Barbados Workers Union location at Mangrove. And I'm not going to go too far into it, but I'll just introduce the next speaker, and I will do like John the Baptist did many, many moons ago, and said, there cometh one greater than I. General Secretary Toni, a great leader and a great commemorator.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. As Leslie said, we are here this evening for a very important occasion. I believe it would be fair to say it is a very important, very historic one. So, Senior Minister, the Honorable Kerrie Symmonds, Mr. Fernandes, the Chairman of BNOCL, and Mr. McGregor from Emera. I'm happy to be a part of a head table with you at the top of this very important launch. For some time now, members of the press, members of the public, and our members in the Barbados Workers Union generally would have been hearing us speak a lot about our plans for just over 30 acres, some 32 acres of land that we have at Mangrove, St. Philip. Now this goes back years before I was born. Not really. Just after I was born, just over 30 years ago, the Barbados Workers Union purchased some land, 100 acres of land at Mangrove, St. Philip. And the reasoning for that was that the union felt as part of of its mission of improving the well-being for all, that we would not just be involved in bread and butter issues, that we had an obligation to our members, to their families, and more generally the country, to deliver for people in a very important way. Brick and mortar, delivering housing solutions, but at very affordable prices to our members and their families. The idea was a bit more than that. The entire 100 acres was never intended to be just about housing solutions alone. So out of that came the Barbados Workers Union Labor College, now called the Frank Walcott Labor College, which sits on 12 acres. And you will imagine that that is not only about education either, because you wouldn't need 12 acres just for education. It is about recreation as well, because it was considered that if you are going to teach people, especially when our courses would not be focusing solely on academics, one of the best ways to train people in vocations and so on is also to provide a setting, the ambiance within which people can feel comfortable learning, and a very green environment. For those of you who have been at our Mangrove location, it is much like what you would enjoy here at Harmony Hall, where we have a very lush setting, a lot of trees, a nice fresh breeze. You will see the union too placing a heavy emphasis in that property as well, on the 12 acres on sports. We have a pavilion there where members in the surrounding areas are able to come and play football. Cricket is played there. We have a cricket team, our own local cricket team, and we hopefully will continue that as now we sponsor the Gladiola cricket team. But why am I saying all of this? The 100 acres that was earmarked for development at Mangrove was about housing, it was about education, and back in the 80s, yes, the union had a vision that it would also offer to the community exactly what we have at 6 Rose. It was supposed to have a doctor's office, supermarket, gas station, but when you're a poor organization like a trade union, a membership-based organization, sometimes your vision is not always matched by your means. And so over the years, while that vision remained strong, our capacity to deliver could not match. But then when 6 Rose opened up, we had to consider then, what else could we do with the unused portion of land? What else could we do with the remaining 30 plus acres? We had over 50 acres used in housing, 12 acres for recreation and education, and then the 30 acres. So having utilized the other portions in the way we did, the Executive Council of the Barbados Workers Union, and I should have recognized very early on my president, Mr. Sean Knight, who is here as well and who also will be signing with us on this occasion. The Executive Council back in 2018 embarked very seriously on a plan to use the 30 plus acres towards renewable energy, towards an environmental project. We explored the possibility of another housing development, but then it was considered, what can we do most meaningfully with the land to get the kind of returns that we were looking for, not only in financial terms, but returns that would represent our mission and what those early councillors would have considered to be good use of the entire 100 acres. And so we determined that we would earmark this land for the development of a renewable energy project. You heard me make mention of the fact that that was since 2018, and this is now 2022. You would imagine that ideas like this would carry an investment, and you heard me say that where your means don't always match your vision, there can be stumbling blocks. And so this evening, I am proud that the vision of the Executive Council to use our 32 acres at Mangrove for a renewable energy investment is now possible because we have been able to partner with Emera Renewables, and of course the Barbados National Oil Company. I don't know if in hearing me say, and hopefully with the other speakers they can convey how big this is, how major this is, that as the government of Barbados contemplates a reality for its citizens where we will be 100% renewable in just another decade or so, that a private sector company, the government itself, and a trade union organization representing the people can partner to deliver towards that particular vision. So on behalf of the Executive Council of the Barbados Workers Union, I am indeed grateful to Emera, to BNOCL for taking time with us to flesh out what our vision could be in reality, for walking us through the technical paces that would be required. Sometimes frustrating, right, Houston, that we were not moving as quickly as we all wanted to. But thank you for recognizing that a trade union movement indeed has a place at the table in missions like this, which are not just about percentage increases, uniform allowances, and discussing things like what happens with severance if people are if companies are downsizing and so on. But seeing that we have a meaningful place in matters like this, in the trade union movement, we say there is no job on a dead planet. And it means that we recognize and take very seriously the care that we must give to our environment. We recognize that we are going through a period where the changes in climate, the changes in the environment means that there will be more jobs, but different jobs. And so we are interested in, in a just transition. And as part of that just transition is not just making sure that people who have jobs today will have jobs tomorrow, but that people are alive and well and can flourish in a sustainable environment that will provide sustainable jobs and therefore sustainable opportunities for them and their children. Therefore, delivering on the mission of the Barbados Workers Union to improve the well-being of all. And maybe we can revise that to improve the entire well-being of the person. This union, therefore, remains focused on people, focused on our population, focused on delivering, and we remain committed. And it is important to us in our 80th year. Barbados Workers Union turned 80 on the 4th of October last year. And COVID prevented a number of things from happening, but COVID makes what was our vision even before COVID more applicable now and provides us with an opportunity to deliver in a tangible way, not only to the people of Mangrove, but to this country generally, because all of us will be the beneficiaries. The other speakers will tell you more of the technical aspects, how big the solar plant, the renewable plant would be, and so on. They will get into the details that I might fumble over, but just to say that today it is a distinct honor for me, standing as General Secretary on behalf of the Executive Council of the Barbados Workers Union, to be participating in what I believe will be fundamental and monumental change brought to our people through this exercise this evening. I thank you.
going to be one of these glasses on, glasses off moments, I'm afraid. But I do my myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I think protocols having been established, Senior Minister, it's great for me personally to be back in Barbados. I used to live here for a period of about 5 years between 2013 and 2018, before actually transferring to the Bahamas, where I helped look after the Browne Power Company, amongst others. But it's been 2 years since I've been here for obvious reasons. But it's so great to see the hotel busy. Maybe it's not quite so great to see the streets so busy with traffic, but that's the Barbados I grew to know and love, and it's fantastic to be back here. And even better, as Wesley said, to be part of something as special as this, a tripartite, if you like, arrangement with the Barbados Workers Union and the National Oil Company, and private companies such as ourselves. It really is, I think, unprecedented. If anybody can think of any other examples, please let me know. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to stand before you and represent Emera. I see this as a very public vote of confidence from the government agencies of Barbados in Emera Caribbean, and our affiliates on our ability to help put together something like this, and more importantly, pull it off. Because that's what we need to do. This is a historic day, but the real historic day is we're down at Mangrove in about a year's time, opening that plant and giving ourselves a round of applause. That's the historic moment, and that's where we need to get to quickly. Of course, our partners are well known to us. The Barbados Workers Union, known to us for decades at the Barbados Light and Power Company. In fact, I was remarking to General Secretary when I came in, I spent many happy hours in the building opposite, sitting across the table from Sir Roy, talking about uniforms, allowances, and such. And of course, with the Barbados National Oil Company, we've been buying oil from that company and its predecessors for decades and decades, if not 100 years or more. And that's one of the reasons, no offense, James and your team, it's why we need to be moving this way. I checked my phone this morning, oil, $115 a barrel. That's not the only reason we need to get off oil. I hear your Prime Minister talk about climate change on the world stage, and as a small island developing state in the Caribbean, it affects us and you more than anyone else. So we need to do our piece for climate change. We need to get off fossil fuel. We need to stop spending our hard-earned foreign exchange on fossil fuel. The money's coming in and it's going straight out the other door on fossil fuel. That's why we need to be doing projects like this, and that's why we need to be doing projects like this with pace. And pace has been missing. When I was here, 2013, 2018, one of my jobs was to lead the development and construction of the solar plant, 10 megawatt solar plant in St. Lucie. We executed that. It was the first 10 megawatt plant in Barbados. It was 6 years ago, and it's still the only 10 megawatt plant in Barbados. And that has to change. And it's changing here now, and I'm thrilled on behalf of Emera to be part of it. Also, up in St. Lucie, I hope some of you have managed to visit that solar site over the last 6 years. But we're the proud, I'm not sure we're the owners, but we're the proud custodians of 700 black belly sheep. But we have a little giggle. But I think that's a very important part. Solar takes up a lot of land. A lot of land. So if we can co-use the land for agriculture or some other use, then we just get a double benefit. And I hope we can explore some agriculture possibilities in Mangrove as well. I think that black belly sheep farm is the second biggest one in the country. And we're very proud to have started that. I wrote the check, my personal check, for the first 6 sheep for that plant, and now we have 700. I talked about pace, and I'm glad Senior Minister, is here today, because I think we need to work, I know we need to work with the Ministry for Energy, and the Fair Trade Commission to remove any and all barriers to getting this project done, and done quickly, and done right. The sooner we can do it, the sooner we'll yield the benefits in getting off that oil. So I look forward to working with the Minister and others to start removing some of these barriers that have slowed down progress over the last 6 years. This project forms part of the Emera's commitment to fighting climate change. The Emera commitment is to decarbonisation. That's taking fossil fuel out of our fuel mix for all our islands that we operate on, and in Florida and in Nova Scotia, from where we hail. Decentralisation, what does that mean? That means not having all our power generation assets in one spot. Down Spring Garden, for example, in some of the airport. It's spreading it out across the community. And you know, that has reliability enhancements. It just has so many good reasons. It's a little more difficult for us to control, but with the technology, with the smart grid investments that Barbados Light Power have made over the last couple of years, we can really truly have a renewable smart grid system that will benefit everybody on this island. So I think all that remains to Toni, General Secretary, threw in that they would talk about the technical details of it, which I hadn't prepared, but let's test my knowledge here. So it's a 10 megawatt solar plant, generating, if I remember right, and Nielsen will correct me, over 21 million kilowatt hours a year, which is about 21 gigawatt hours for those that work with bigger numbers like James. And you know, over about 30 acres, all being well, you know, a lot of procurement. There's a lot of work still to be done. As we talked with the minister, there's some barriers that need to be removed. Some paperwork needs to be done. There's some study work that needs to be done. We need to get a license. But once we get through all that and we're ready to go, we need to prep the site. We need to do some ground testing. But once we've done that, construction schedule, if procurement goes the way it should, and of course there are challenges around the world at the moment with the supply chain, could take as little as, what am I going to commit to, Nielsen, 8 months? There we go. You heard it.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of the technical detail. If anyone wants any more technical details, there's your man sitting in front of the room. So all it remains for me is to say thank you. Thank you to our partners for working with us to get this to conclusion. Thank you to Nielsen and his team, but Nielsen in particular, for pulling this together and keeping a lid on these frustrations when we didn't move as quickly as we should. Or we're going to move quickly from now, aren't we, team? So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you look forward to following the progress of this project as it gets fast-tracked to completion.
All protocols have been observed. I'm aware from this morning that I was required to say a few words, the emphasis on few. I guess when you're batting at number 4 and your star batsman is up next, you shouldn't try to occupy the crease for too long. So I will try to be as brief as I can be. I want to say though that as chairman of BNOCL and its related companies, I have, over the last year, discovered a whole heap of stuff about the importance of this company and what it does. And I wonder sometimes how many people in Barbados fully appreciate the scope of the energy responsibilities that reside with BNOCL, BNTCL, NBC. It's absolutely amazing that everything from the aircraft industry all the way through to kerosene. I didn't know, by the way, that aviation fuel was kerosene. I learned that recently. I don't mean to scare anybody, but I guess that's one of the things I learned since becoming chair at BNOCL. But but I was fascinated by the range of things that this company does. And in some respects, the name BNOCL, Barbados National Oil Company, is perhaps one that needs to be reviewed at some point, Minister, because we are more of an energy company today than an oil company. And when I look at the range of projects that we are involved in, this is the first of many big ones, and I think it's a great partnership between the entities. I think that there are so many opportunities for Barbadians and for this company to take us into this exciting era of transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And I can only say, without going into the details, that this is one of many, many projects that the team at BNOCL have been working on. So I just wanted to use this opportunity today to commend the team at BNOCL. There are some very qualified experts in the industry, and I'm not going to repeat, as Wesley said, because what I have to say is not what Wesley has to say, because that would be self-praise, and self-praise, as we know, is no praise at all. But there's a remarkable team at the company, and they are managing the transition. And when I look at everything from LNG, natural gas, oil drilling, importation of oil, all fuel oils, ensuring the supplies, we have dedicated shipping, bringing the LNG, which we then convert into natural gas. It's amazing, if you really delve into this company, how many things it does and how important what it does is to everything that we do. When you go outside and you turn on your car, unless it's an electric car, you can then be an OCL for the fuel. It may carry a different brand name. You may stop at a gas station, they may put some additives into it, but by and large, it is the fuel that we bring into this country and is managed by the team. So we are excited about this project. We have several others in the queue waiting to come forward as we transition to Barbados' new future in renewable energy. So I'm very proud to lead this team as chairman, and on behalf of the board, I want to thank them for the work that they put in bringing this project to fruition. Today's the signing ceremony, but a lot went on behind the scenes to bring it to where it is today. So with those hopefully brief remarks, and not repeating anything that Wesley said, I want to thank you.
Chief Operating Officer of Emera, Kerrie, Mr. McGregor, Chairman of the National Oil Company, Mr. Fernandes, and of course, last but not least, General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Ms. Toni, ladies and gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen all. There are a few things or a few times in public life where you feel a completely undiluted sense of satisfaction. This evening is one such time. And I feel that sense of satisfaction largely because, as Wesley said, this is a historical moment. I want to begin by congratulating those folks here at the head table and all who have been working with them, because they have taken us to a point where we have never been before. On Tuesday, when speaking in the House of Assembly, I had expressed what is really not just a personal hope, but I think I must speak to the country as a way that a senior minister with oversight responsibility for the productive sector of the island has to speak. And from time to time, you have to hold up, as I said in Parliament, the mirror, so that we can actually see ourselves and reflect critically on what we are doing and where we're going. And sometimes, as I did on Tuesday, I feel that it is necessary to stress the importance of us as a country to strive for the attainment of the very best practices, to search deep in all that we do, especially what we do commercially, to find the dynamism that is necessary to carry all of these sectors forward, the initiative and the creativity that is vital if we are going to survive in these times, which are arguably, and I think you can say this now without any serious contradiction, the most challenging of times that we have seen, certainly in this country since the dawn of our independence era. This evening, I am very proud and pleased to be party to an exercise which demonstrates the best that the private sector in this country, and by extension this region, is capable of offering. And I say that to you, Dave, in all sincerity. This evening, I am very pleased to be part of an exercise which demonstrates the tremendous work that is capable of coming out of the much criticized state-owned enterprises in Barbados. And we all know as Barbadians that we have given our state-owned enterprises a very difficult break. But James Browne, I want to salute you. I want to commend you for your leadership and the creativity and dynamism in getting us to this place. And equally, I feel that I must say to you, General Secretary, that I salute you, because this is a very critical juncture and I think an unprecedented one for the workers' movement in this country. Now, folks, let me be candid with you all and tell you why I am so pleased. In 1994, or thereabouts, certainly it was in the 1990s, the world paused and looked at Barbados with a sense of awe. And they lauded and applauded the fact that we, as a small island state, were able to throw up a form of governance in this country, which was really a tripartite relationship between labor, capital, and the state itself. Unprecedented in the developing world. And shortly after, when I became a young Minister of Foreign Affairs, I came to learn that it was called the Barbados model, and that islands and countries all around the world, not just small islands, but countries around the world, looked to Barbados for their leadership example as having charted a path of development that they felt it was necessary to follow and to emulate. That was back in the 90s. Today, we are signing this evening that which will go down in history as a model for investment. And dare I say it again, as Wesley said, it is unprecedented. We have here an investment exercise which is involving the workers of this country as stakeholders. It is involving capital and distinguished capital, might I add, in the energy sector. And it is involving also the state enterprise in energy. This, I don't think it's been said, but this is going to be an expenditure that we anticipate to go somewhere in the vicinity of $2.5 million. Sorry, $25 million, I beg your pardon. And it is vitally important for us to recognize that the journey that we are now on aligns completely with that which the government of Barbados has sought to articulate in its national energy policy. The national energy policy is very clear that we want to democratize the energy sector in Barbados. Mr. McGregor, I want to be candid with you. Your subsidiary, Barbados Light & Power, has been a very useful partner to us in energy. And the Light & Power has been around for over 100 years. It has enjoyed a monopoly during that period of time. But we felt that the time had come where it was necessary to democratize energy in Barbados. Equally, we felt that the time had come where it was necessary to go on a green trajectory in regard to that sector. But in this very mature sector like energy, you expect that, as with tourism, you can now see entities emerging that are capable of competing with the best in the world, going in a direction that lends leadership to the world, and demonstrating that there is a pathway for development that really and truly the world should be looking at to follow. That is how I feel, and I'm very sure that Barbadians, being the people that we are, and having the sense of pride in our country that we do, pretty much will align with that feeling. And that is really what the energy policy was hoping to achieve, to draw out the very best, not only of our people, but also out of our energy sector's leadership. This evening we have seen the best come forward. From the perspective of Emera, let me say that this makes wonderful good sense, because they want to decarbonize, as you've heard Mr. McGregor say, decarbonize their industrial footprint in this region as a whole. From the perspective of the Barbados Workers Union, it makes excellent sense, because it is vitally important that labor be part of this new commercial space. I said again in Parliament on Tuesday, interestingly enough, that this commercial space must not be one which is characterized as so many other new ventures have been characterized, where we have seen those with long pockets, sometimes stretching down to the ankle, being able to run away with all of the fruits of the opportunity for investment, and you leave labor behind. In this country, we have come to a point where we have to understand that it is simply not going to be acceptable for the vast majority of our people to be the hewers of wood and drawers of water. They must be at the table, and they are here at the table as a core party, 32 acres as part of this process in the hands of labor. And equally for the National Oil Company, Vic Fernandes knows, because I almost said bellow, but that would suggest that we only quarrel. I repeat ad nauseum into his ear that there is a necessity for the National Oil Company to do that which Vic just said. Become an energy company and to redefine its revenue stream. Not ever again will it be a company that simply imports oil and gas. It has to go into new areas. James Browne equally has heard me repeat this to him now like a mantra. And I am extremely pleased that we are seeing the fruits of that coming home this evening. And this is one such revenue stream, an involvement of 10 megawatts here on Tuesday, interestingly enough, again, in Parliament. That was an interesting day. A lot of things happened then. I piloted a resolution that allows for 5 more megawatts of investment in National Oil Company right next to the airport. And this is an arm of the state which is becoming very entrepreneurial in nature and in spirit, and going out there and making a space for itself in an economic sector and in an economic sphere where there's an abundance of opportunity. For me, it is absolutely critical that this happens, not only because of the spirit of partnership and cooperation. The cooperation and partnership is, as I said, something that characterizes Barbados in terms of our governance, and it is now clear for all to see that it transcends just the governance process, but it is now part of the investment process. For the first time, we have been able to do this, and I dare say in the Caribbean. But beyond that, it is important because of the fact that it goes to the core of the democratization process. The danger in renewable energy is because it is a new technology in many ways. And because it is a new technology, it is not easily accessed by all and sundry. And as you drive around Barbados, it is not hard to distinguish some neighborhoods from other neighborhoods already. It is not hard to distinguish some geographical areas from other geographical areas already. So that whether the solar PV investment is in large scale on a PV farm, or whether it is in more upper middle class neighborhoods, what we have to guard against is it only being in those areas of this country. It has to be a technology that is accessed by all of Barbados, all Barbadians of all walks of life. Again, part of the reason why I'm so happy about this exercise, because it sends a very important signal in tomorrow's newspaper. That capital understands the need for this process to work. That labor is at the center of this process, and that the state is playing a pivotal role in the partnership, lending, guidance, and facilitation, and providing investment as an entrepreneurial effort itself as well. There are countries of the world where there is a technological divide, and I want to be candid with you. Those countries are seeing a different type of renewable energy experience. Those countries are seeing people shut out from ownership of the experience. Those countries are seeing people who do not have the benefit of feed-in tariffs, which are extremely lucrative and attractive. In Barbados today, it has been described by some as being a way to get to a financial heaven without having to die. It is necessary, therefore, for us to make sure that we carry with us on this journey all of Barbados, and that technological divide is not something that characterizes this country. So as I said before, it is one of those evenings where you start to say to yourself, I do not repent me of the trouble that I have taken. I think that's paraphrasing Mr. Valiant for truth in Pilgrim's Progress. But the truth of the matter is, folks, that it has not been an easy journey to come to this point. I take Mr. McGregor's observation very seriously. There's still work for us to do. Tomorrow, Nielsen, I remember well your injunction to me, your caveat to me, when we had our meeting last week or week before about some of the roadblocks that exist in terms of projects of this nature. The interconnection agreement meeting that I pledged to you will take place at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We plan to wrestle that technical difficulty to the ground. I can assure you that today before Cabinet, I had a lengthy meeting with my permanent secretary on the question of battery storage. This project anticipates battery storage. I say to the public that it is not only about PV, it must also be about wind investment, and it will also be about the battery storage, which assists us in making sure that we have a stable grid. The world is moving in this direction. We obviously have gone further and faster than most in the Caribbean. I believe, Dave, it would be correct to say that in terms of solar PV on rooftops, we are the leaders in the Caribbean now, and not too far behind in terms of investment of this scale. But we want to do better, and therefore we want to complement it with battery storage, which allows for us to make sure that at this time in the evening, 3:55, where you're not getting a lot of hot sun anymore, and later on into the night when you will have no generation from any PV panel in Barbados whatsoever, that you will still have that technology that allows for the utility to be able to source power and to dispatch power across the island where it is necessary, when it is necessary, and in the amounts that it is necessary. If we don't get it that way, we will have a grid that becomes very difficult to manage and very unreliable, and that is not the Barbados that we want to live in. So it is a step-by-step thing. Most countries in the world are groping their way in the dark because there's really not a precedent for this anywhere, and we are learning as we go. I'm the first to accept that it is a difficult journey, but I am deeply appreciative for all who pitch up and offer ideas and offer expertise, and more importantly, offer investment that helps to take us to this point. So I commend you on your creativity. I commend you on the dynamism of this particular initiative, and I pledge that I will do all within my power as the minister responsible to make sure that the necessary things are done, that this project can proceed without impediment and reap the sweet reward of success. I'm obliged to you all.
I do not put my phone on do not disturb.
We don't need that. Thank you, sir. No problem. Yeah.
Last one, I think there's a third one, but you sign.
I think that's it.
James, the second signature? No, two. This one? All right. Shake hands. Yards if you do. Thank you.
Okay? That's it. You want to do something for myself? That's it. That's it? Or you want to, are you talking?
Bye, everybody.
Sorry.
Yeah, y'all know what to do.
Why are they taking this photo and get this information quick?
You made history there. You made history. So Frank is going to get this one.
Thank you.